All right. Today is Wednesday, July 22nd, 2026, and I'm going to call the meeting of the Sanborn Regional School District Finance and Facilities Committee to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Motion on the minutes. I wasn't here, so I can't.
Oh, right. I forgot what the motion is.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Approve. I was looking for the verb approve. I was like, motion to what?
Yeah.
I would like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the previous finance facilities meeting, June 17th.
I would second that.
Okay. All in favor? And I'll abstain.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you for good note taking.
Okay.
Okay.
New business.
So the current inflation rate as of June is 4.3%. That went down from 5% from May. This is going to kind of go back and forth because since we have a new fiscal year now. So these encumbrances are for the new fiscal year through July 16th of $3,753,336.55. And then the operating cash balance as of July 16th as well is $6,299,982.46, which is held in the TD Bank and the NHP debit account that we have. The trust fund balances have all been updated through June 30th. So the Special Ed Expendable Trust Fund earned $1,966.19 for the month of June, which brings us to a total of $653,019.96 in the Special Ed Expendable Trust. The Capital Improvement Maintenance, we earned $1,485.35, bringing that reserve fund to $493,318.04. The unanticipated educational expenses, we've earned $892.17, bringing that fund to $296,308.47. And then the unanticipated unanticipated utility cost, $604.64 of interest, bringing that to $200,815.33. And then the facility use revolving, we had the rental income come in at $25,510.21, and then other rental incomes of $18,045. And then we spent $81,370. Excuse me, and that was for the Chromebooks that we took out of that revolving fund. So that total is now $393,509.
Was it just the Chromebooks?
For right now, it's just the Chromebooks. Okay. The encumbrance is in there for the books as well.
Okay, yeah, that's okay.
140-something thousand,
yep.
But it wasn't spent yet. So
okay, yeah, no, I remember.
It's encumbered. It's just not in there.
Okay.
So our total reserves are, with the contingency is $2,707,241.89, and that's through June 30th. And I had monthly revenue report, and that is through June. Blow it up because I put it as a PDF and I can't see it. We ended up getting, and tuition for preschool tuition was $3,531.04. The Fremont tuition last quarter came in at $711,230. Earnings on investment for that general fund for that account was $8,276.83. And then we had other local revenue of $9,416.55, which that breakdown is the shared homeless transportation, scrap metal that we sent in, and then a track meet, some lost library books of $614, and the BMO rebate that we get every year of $2,880.17. And then the retiree health insurance is part of that. And then under insurance proceeds, we received $10,140, and that was from when we had water damage. Dan, I think that was the 10,000 that we got the water damage, not for the SAU, but for here.
Oh, for here, yeah.
It was from a past fiscal year, so that's why it's put into that account. And then other local revenue for the student Chromebooks was $1,525. And then the Medicaid, we received $29,880.73. And then, excuse me, interest earned on the Siemens account that we have is $170,015. So total revenue for the general fund for June came in at $774,171.09.
Wait a minute. Interest on the Siemens account?
Mm-hmm.
What line item is that?
It's just a cash account that we had earned interest. Remember, we got the lease agreement and then they gave us the money up front.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's 5130.
Okay.
Interest.
Sorry, the
Thank you.
number.
Oh, yeah, the 5130. Okay.
And then we go down to Fund 20 for the rental revolving of $10,792.50. And the food service has not fully come in yet. I'm waiting on the June claim. But of that, for food service lunch sales, we had $26,802.95. And then the meal assistance program is the $197.25. And then all of the different grants had come in. I don't know if you want me to go through each individual one, but of all of the grants and miscellaneous donations, we received $81,050.13 for a total of $893,013.92 for all of the funds through June. But this will change slightly once I record the food service lunch claims, because Brandy was actually working on those today.
Do you know the variance between the total grant budget and year to date? Like the cause of the parents were coming, it looks like year to date revenue is significantly lower than what we had expected. Is that, I'm reading that?
Delta
The budget.
The budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, some of the grants too run on a 2-year period too.
Yeah.
And that's why, and that's just what we've spent and received so far.
So no cause for concern.
Right. No, not at all. And then what is next? Oh, I had one budget adjustment number 4. And that was simply just because we ended up transferring a teacher from the middle school, to the middle school from the high school. So we just took her position and then just transferred the money associated with that position, because the need was transferring to the middle school from the high school of $76,449.95.
Okay.
So it was her salary, or their salary plus benefits.
Make a motion to approve budget adjustment number 4 as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous? Thanks.
Now, the next agenda item, I'm
Yeah.
not sure if you want to lead that one.
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
So this has come out as a question that Rick had, and in terms of how money was being expended, and please correct me if I'm not capturing it fully, how money is being expended, reviewed, and approved through this committee and through policy. There's definitely appears to be a policy gap in the, and I apologize for blanking on the amount, but anything sort of, I think, above 5,000, below 10,000.
10
Yeah,
and up to like 1990.
yeah, it's like, but they're definitely
20, I'm sorry, 24 now.
Yeah, but there's a gap in policy there. Like, there's a lot of ambiguity where there's some very clear things that have to happen above that don't. And one thing, Rick, that you had said that I sort of had resonated with me, that I think is a good place for us to start is, we can send out the registers, or and show here, this is what we paid for, but it's the past tense. It's already been executed at that point. And trying to think of, how can we best address those issues with the board to make sure we're buying things in accordance with policy, but we're also doing it in a way that allows the school district to conduct its business appropriately and in a timely manner. And also trying to think of where is our responsibilities as the administration and your responsibilities within the oversight from the school board's end, and trying to sort of put that together and have that piece come so that we can then have something to sort of move forward through policy and address the changes that need to be made there, because there definitely is some gaps in that. And the other piece too, I would offer for the committee's consideration is we're having issues getting bids of things at the $10,000 level. Dan especially is finding that there are significant concerns with getting 3 bids. I mean, when we do that, there's a reason we do that, and I think it's good transparency, but the financial realities of the way companies conduct business now is that's not enough for them to jump through hoops without some type of guarantee. So it's trying to figure out how we sort of operate most effectively within the oversight of the board, and trying to work together and how we can do that as a group. So it's sort of what we wanted to sort of start with. I'm not sure if we'll get through it all this evening, but it's definitely, I think something that's top of mind because, we need to be doing this in order to promote transparency for the community. Yeah, go for it.
So I have to bring up the policy. Is it DEJ? DJE? DGE?
Huh?
J.
DJE?
JE?
Yeah.
David John.
David John. Yeah, okay. I thought there was like, as far as the bids go, I gotta look at the language again. I apologize. The bids, I thought we left the language somewhat loose to say like fiduciary responsibility. If you can't get 3 bids, just let us know that. And there's been times where Dan has done that, and we move forward, right?
Yeah.
So we certainly don't want to. I think for transparency purposes, we just want to say we attempted to get 3 bids. We didn't get 3 bids. We got 2 bids. We got 1 bid, right?
I think the problem is we're running into this, like, I think when the policy was created, that would happen.
10,000 was a
Yeah,
reasonable
it
number.
was a reasonable
With
number
inflation,
where
right?
now it's becoming harder. Yeah, because companies look at this is penny candy to us. We're
Just to provide
Yeah.
a perspective with my construction company hat on, we will not respond to any RFP less than 6 figures. That's our organizational choice. I think that number is probably too high for the district.
Yeah.
But most companies, and you're probably running into this, have some trigger. And I think the intent is to get good cost competitive bids, but what you are actually probably doing, and we've navigated this a little bit, you're narrowing your potential contractor pool in some cases.
And upsetting a lot of contractors too,
Right.
by doing this.
Right, and that's ultimately your.
I think that policy was written in 2012.
We updated it. Let me bring it up, just so I'm correct, but
But
we spent some time on it.
But regardless, with the costs, from a facility standpoint, obviously, with the costs going up beyond your normal 4% every year, some of these costs have gone up 20, 30%. That $10,000 rate is not keeping up with the inflation rate, which makes it even harder.
Right, capital assets went from 5,000 to 10,000.
We did a revision in 24, so I mean, it's probably due.
I have a ridiculous question. Ostensibly, how do we know how much the thing is if we don't have a bid on it? We say, we get bids if it's over 10,000. How do I know if it's over 10,000 if I don't have any bids?
Well,
No, I know, but.
Well,
no, I mean,
typically,
really.
I go to my normal contractor that has the maintenance contract for these buildings.
Okay,
And when they come in under 10,000, that's
Okay.
great.
Okay.
But as soon as they bust
so if we have an
10,000,
initial bid
Now I
that's
gotta
over,
go
and now
out
we
to-
gotta,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah, then I got to expand.
You see the weird question on that?
yeah,
And then
Can
we
I-
have stuff within sort of the educational side of the operation that there's
Say filing
one
cabinets, for
bidder.
example.
Yeah,
Right.
so
One
we're looking
supplier,
for a
one
math
bidder,
curriculum.
right.
We have decided between these two and doing the evaluation, this is the stronger curriculum. We're looking to buy $100,000 worth of curriculum. We
Yeah.
have one potential bidder. We don't really have an
Right.
opportunity to bid there, but I also don't want to violate what the spirit of this is, and trying to figure out how we sort of move that forward, because I think there's, and Dan, I'm still new and learning this, but we also don't want to offend local bidders on that, whereas the sort of educational side of the operation doesn't tend to be as local.
It seems reasonable to increase the threshold, though, given the world that we live in. I don't know to what, but I would be in favor of it being higher.
For facilities?
For
Yeah.
facilities.
For facilities, I would agree.
The other issue I have too with facilities is that a lot of these bids, or a bid I get is a governmental bid. No one's gonna beat the price on it, but I'm still forced to get other bids, and it's like,
It's like
that
the
doesn't
truck,
make
the
sense.
truck bid that you get.
Yeah,
from
like the
state.
truck bid, that, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
getting it at a government price, no one's gonna beat that price, but you're still, in a way, forced to get other bids, which makes no sense. So, but
Is this just district policy, or are there state expenditure factors we need to consider?
It's a good question. I don't know.
Usually the policies, I would say, align to what legal precedent would be, but I think with this policy, it's just meant to be good business.
In 24, we adjusted it, if I remember correctly. You were here in 24, right? Okay. September 24.
Yeah.
Remember, I think we extended the ceiling for bids at that point.
on the upper end though, wasn't the 10,000 though?
No, we went higher though. Like, I think in September 24, it was lower.
Lower than 10?
I think it was 5. Like, I want to say it was 5,000 because,
Okay.
remember you had a different facilities committee back then. And I think they were a little more stringent than we are to an extent. And we did in September 24. I have to look at the 19. I don't know if we still have the 19 version somewhere, but I'm almost positive we did increase it. So it would make sense for us to review it again, right?
I have the 19 version right here,
Okay, and what was the limit?
10,000.
Was it 25 grand in there?
I thought they extended the upper limits. You know what I'm saying, it was 10,000, between 10,000 and now it's what, 25,000?
Well,
All purchases
Yeah.
greater than 25.
5,000, yeah.
25,000.
But I thought because I thought it was like 10,000 and like 15,000 or 20,000, so we extended that upper one. I
Well,
don't-
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But to your point earlier, there shouldn't be
There's a
an
gap.
upper and a lower. There should just be one threshold. Because we don't know what to do if it's 17, right? There's
I
no
think to
policy that
Adam's
governs-
point, if our-
Fine, but there's like different thresholds and stuff like that, like.
to Adam's point, the point that was brought up from the prior administration was anything under 10 grand, we should just be able to buy and not have to go through like a committee and stuff. SAU purchases, stuff like that. Again, I'm
I remember
off
this.
memory, right? Does that sound familiar?
That sounds,
Yeah.
well, at
Which
least
are
a
called
lot.
And that's why we
which are
had-
called micro purchases according to our policy.
And we had like
9 grand.
10 grand and under, like you were okay. And then, but we didn't define what's missing from the policies. Like there's a gap, like there's that gap that goes to 25. Because like, for example, what you mentioned earlier, that should have been reviewed, but was
Right.
just under that threshold, right?
Right. So we could plug the gap, easy enough. But does the 25 even make sense also?
But I even think the lower stuff too. I mean, in the case specifically, the purchase that Rick had questions about. To me, reading the policy and looking at it, it didn't align. We need to make sure that that's not standard operating procedure, and making sure that that's well defined, because there were multiple purchases made of one type of thing. So there could be, and I'm still new, a way of interpreting it as, well, I bought this and it was below the price, where
4 times.
I would look at it with my sort of own eyes and say, when you look at the total purchase of
Yeah.
one item, it exceeded the threshold, and it should have
One
been.
kind of item.
Yes.
For one intent, as it were.
But again, it's trying to figure out how, like, it's a lot of stuff when really what are we actually trying to do? And I think that's what I took from Rick's conversation is like, we're not interested in vetting the past or doing things that have already been done, but how do we do it in a way that allows the school district to function while also having the proper oversight that's necessary? Because I think it's critical, the amount of money that the district's responsible for, that, we can explain and justify every single purchase that goes through our books. And so the policy is great, but it's not great if people don't follow it. And it's also, I would say, convoluted in terms of the different levels that going through it. Now, I've been spending an enormous amount of time in the policy book currently. I'm at J and K left to do, but
Those are good ones.
yeah, a lot of them.
What is this one? J.
It's
D.
DJE.
Okay. So there's definitely some need there to tidy this up, but it's also trying to make sure, the Facilities and Finance Committee is not a policy setting committee, you're a procedure.
Yeah,
setting committee.
so would it be ideal maybe then for us to take some time, review it between now and the next meeting?
I think
and
that'd be
get
great.
something to you?
Yeah.
Or do we kick it over to the policy section?
Well,
That's what I was thinking.
I was saying get it to him,
Oh, and
and
then bring
then
it.
he could bring it to the
Yeah.
policy.
Yeah.
I think we
Yeah.
want to look at
That's
what the
yeah.
procedure is and sort of making sure, because not to keep going back to what Rick had commented on, but I'm getting the manifest and I'm reviewing something and that's already happened.
Right.
So how can I do my job for financial oversight in that case? But it's how do we manage that in a way that, you all have lives and other things to do and shouldn't be needing to read the manifest at 3 a.m. in between things. So it's how do we do that? And I think Rick, what you're saying is read that, but I think that's what we have to also be thinking of is how that procedure goes through.
Like how we can rewrite, because then I send a list of questions to Marie, which, thank you very much, you answered them all, but that's time out of your day, right? And it's
We want to get away from that.
You're doing work today for something that happened last month, right? So this doesn't make a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Right. And that's why I want to look at the procedures and how we do that to avoid that, so that when something happens, you're like, did this happen? Yes, here you go. Because it shouldn't just be, oh, well, that's below the threshold. Because sometimes, I think my own self, I'm just guilty of over time, oh, well, we're fine on that, but without thinking of the bigger picture, because sometimes, I'm forced in my position to look at the bigger picture a little bit more than most people, and so, but we have to have everyone seeing that piece of it.
So we'll try and think about what we would like to see in terms of the procedure, how we want things to play out in reality. And then you can take that to see how we can.
Yeah, and then we can I say we discuss that in the next meeting, because nothing's gonna happen with policy between now and then, and then we have those guidelines, because there are other purchasing policies there as well.
Okay.
And then, James, that's a good point about the state thing, so I'll look into that too.
I did a quick,
Oh, did you?
but I mean, you can't trust AI that much, but the AI overview, I asked, are there laws in New Hampshire regulating whether school districts need to get multiple bids on capital projects? Just threw that out. And it said New Hampshire does not have a blanket state law mandating competitive bidding for school district projects or contracts. Instead, these requirements are typically governed by the district's own local policies or of the terms of its voter-approved bonds. The state seems to care more about whether or not a public official is responding to an RFP or RFQ rather than whether the public entity is to get multiple.
And then the sideline to that is if there's any grant monies involved in it, now it opens up all the.
Yes, it's much more
the strings to
complicated.
the grant. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
There are vendors out there too, that if you're looking for something, you can hire vendors to do the bidding. They go out and get all the pricing.
I mean, Siemens does a
Well,
lot of
that's what
bidding
Siemens
for us.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we actually belong to a purchasing organization. I forget the name of it, where we can buy a lot of school supplies, equipments and stuff like that. And they basically do the shopping on our behalf and then give us the lowest price, available for such as school furniture and things like that also. So we already belong to a couple organizations like that that actually do bid on our behalf for all the school districts in the state.
Yeah, which is one advantage that we do have in our world.
Right.
There are organizations like that.
Right.
Okay. But the world's changing a little bit, this stuff.
Well, and now that things are more available on Amazon and prices are even cheaper sometimes than Amazon, that some of these vendors, it makes it complicated, it really does.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Which now leads to what, old business?
Mhm.
And back to the Dan,
Back to
the
the Dan.
lighting system that you had already spoke to Mike about.
Yeah.
We couldn't get 3 bids.
Right.
Timely.
I do have a white paper from Siemens, I don't have it with me tonight, stating that they, made a good faith attempt to get multiple bids on that system, and they were only, were able to come up with port lighting also, which is somebody already had bid on the job anyways. So, what Siemens, is doing is they're stepping away from that project with the switching system in the school system here and letting me handle it as the general contractor. That way we'll save ourselves some money there instead of getting Siemens involved, because they're gonna take their slice, obviously. So based on that white paper stating that they couldn't find multiple bids, port lighting was the only one that they were able to contact and who was willing to do it, which I've already done. They're stepping away and I'm running with it, so. Which means that with the project, there may be a few more expenses as far as just hiring an electrician to pull some wire and put some fuse boxes and stuff in for that project. Simply because I'm acting as the GC now, so just to kind of be aware of that. Okay?
Yep.
Want me to keep going?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I don't know, do we?
The rooftop unit for Bakey School is shipping August 12th out of South Carolina. We're hoping that it arrives on August 17th. It's being direct shipped. And we're gonna do the lift on the week of August 17th. So just so you know, there's gonna be a crane and some action going on over there at Bakey, starting or on August 17th. Monday, they start digging the hole for the propane tanks and removing the other propane tanks, so that will start Monday and Tuesday, just so you know what the status is of that project. Bad news is we lost RTU 5, and we discussed that at the last meeting for those classrooms. Well, we lost RTU 3 now. RTU 3 cools the auditorium. The problem we have is it's a 2-compressor system. The first compressor has gone. E&E is going to write a note similar to the one that we have for RTU 5 stating that it is not worth fixing, simply because it's going to cost around $25,000, and that doesn't include the R22 Freon, which isn't manufactured in the States here anymore. It's not even allowed to be imported. And in order to charge that system, what they basically do is they take old systems and steal that Freon and recycle it and pump it into your system. It's going for about $300 a pound right now. It's very, how much are you paying a pound, do you know?
Yeah, where are you keeping that?
One of my warehouses.
Oh, which one?
Do you mind if I ask what your going price is per pound is?
We actually only use it for our internal customer services for units that we can't repair or replace.
Right.
I mean,
So
just like
it's
this situation.
Just
Yes.
like this, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that is, I say that not tongue in cheek, but actually that is an increasingly common HVAC company practice. And it's gonna be increasingly impossible to find it on the market.
Like I said, it's $300 a pound now
Not worth
until it
repairing.
runs out, and then,
Well, how many pounds do we need?
oh, right. That's well, that's a good question.
Humor me.
That's the
That's
symptom, not the
that's a good
problem.
question.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, 25 grand plus.
So this is
300 pounds.
RTU for where again?
This is RTU 3, which
Three.
does the
Auditorium.
auditorium.
Here,
So now here's my doom and gloom scenario.
we could do Oklahoma. I feel like that plays. Everybody's, they're all hot in that.
My concerns are,
Thank you for.
because
valuable
the
input.
auditorium is no longer cooled, we're gonna lose revenue on rentals for that auditorium. It's a space that's heavily used. And my biggest fear is mold now. We have lots of fabric, carpeting, woodwork, sound baffles. There's a school in Maine, what was it, West Spring School District? I'm trying to remember. They did the same situation last year and they didn't replace their air conditioning unit and they end up going into mold remediation in their auditorium. It cost them thousands and thousands of dollars to get rid of the mold. So with that being said, I'm gonna purchase some humidity detectors and put them in there so I can maintain, or not maintain, but keep tabs on the humidity levels in there to see where we're at. It's an issue where you just can't go buy dehumidifiers. The space is too large for that. So there's really nothing we can do as far as dehumidifying the auditorium. So
How much is
I'm
it?
worried regarding the humidity levels in the auditorium and possible mold.
What's a new unit running us to replace it?
I don't, since I came here from home, I don't have the old numbers. I think that unit was one of the higher end ones because it's a large unit. Do you have the old spreadsheet, Marie?
It's from Siemens?
Yeah,
That
she's
one.
got it.
I don't know if this is the right
I
one.
feel like it's in the threes. 3 to 4.
I think it was like close to $400,000 just for the unit, not
It's a
install.
lot of pounds of Freon.
I don't know if I have- I don't think it's
Yeah,
the right
well,
spreadsheet.
the trick is getting the Freon though. It's not a matter of,
Yeah.
I mean, at $300 a pound, that's great, but it's also something that's becoming very short in the industry and it's gonna be the point where they're not gonna have any more R22 available. So
I don't have the right one.
I think it was closer to $400,000 for that unit, and that doesn't include the installation and structural work that's needed. Like I said, I'm sorry, I came right from home
Yeah,
to the
no,
meeting.
it's
so I
okay.
don't have that
Well, I thought we
information.
had that, right, in the study, don't we have that in the study?
It's in the
It's in the-
study,
We do
yeah.
have it in the study.
It is in the
If
study.
there's work to be needed, right? That's what-
Yes.
It was a red one that said that we needed to replace it.
Plus or minus 12 million for all of the rooftop units is an aggregate number.
Yeah.
Right, but there was a breakdown of how much
Of
each
each
one.
one, yeah.
Like I said, it was just the unit cost itself. It wasn't labor or anything else. So, I'm sorry, I don't have that number,
Yeah, that's okay.
gentlemen.
I mean, it's not, I don't think it's super relevant right now.
Well, I mean, the dollar amount's gonna be so high. I'm sure no one's gonna make a decision tonight as far as spending that kind of money, you know?
Well, that's a whole board situation, probably anyway.
It is, and even if you guys said yes tonight, that is not gonna be delivered till January, February of next year because of the time to manufacture it. And then January, February next year, we gotta find time, maybe during spring break or winter break, to bring a crane in and have the old one removed and the other one put on, because you can't do a lift during school hours. So either you wait for a vacation or we pay that extra money to have a crane on a weekend and workers on weekends, which would be ridiculous.
So there'll be no heat in the auditorium?
No, there's heat, there's no air conditioning.
Okay.
There's heat, there's just no air conditioning. So, once again, do we want to visit this and say, all right, we're going to do a warrant article on siding and RTUs now and just do one big ball of wax and hope that it all passes, or,
Right next to the teacher contract?
Oh, teachers don't have a building to sit in, right?
Oh, I know, I'm just saying.
This building is, in my opinion, the future, right? Like, this building isn't going anywhere.
It's a 100-year building here.
There's questions about other buildings, right, respectfully.
Of course.
I don't think this one's in question. And even if it was, I mean, we're the custodians of it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I say the Freon thing as a joke, but if it could buy us a year, I don't see why we wouldn't do it if it's
Well,
affordable.
it's 25K plus Freon.
Yeah, I mean, compared to,
And
I don't
that's
know
for,
I don't know how many pounds of Freon these things hold.
and there's 2 compressor systems in there. So if we fix the first compressor and it runs fine, we're good, but we don't know about the second compressor. It's a 2-phase system, so do we do 25,000 times 2 plus Freon for 2?
I just remember we sat in a similar conversation where we talked about if the Band-Aids were affordable, we would continue to do that.
Mhm.
We just have to understand how much they cost, I think.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I'm all for doing a warrant article or going nuts on it, if it's the most financially responsible, long-term thing to do. But if we can really get away with it for a little while, limp it along a little bit.
So why don't we get the hard numbers together, right?
Yeah.
So we can present it to the board.
I can get some hard numbers together, but it's all gonna be based on what is seen to be the issue at that point. Once they start digging into it and finding other things out, this thing could grow quite large.
I mean, you're in the illegal free on trade. Am I talking crazy talk?
No, it's,
I just feel like we're throwing
What
good
it
money
is-
after bad money
that-
at
that-
that point.
Well, it's
That's
that. I know,
Yeah.
but
You know,
I mean, ultimately, we know we got plus or minus 12 million bucks to replace all of the RTU units. There is a reasonable argument to be made to split that up into, this is an emergency response case, from my perspective. So, if we replace the whole unit with the like system, we would replace the rest of the units with, once that warrant article passes, which will likely fail, right? Let's be honest.
I'm not saying passes, but yeah.
I would love to. That should be our goal.
Rick's in the optimism train.
I appreciate it.
Glass half full.
But, it's the Band-Aid approach ultimately results in additional costs in the same 2 to 3 year time frame. You know what I mean?
Well, absolutely. That's what I mean. If it's only gonna get us a certain amount of time before we have to pay all that money anyway, then we might as well just pay the money. But if there's a reasonable argument to be made that we could limp it along like we did, yeah, I guess it depends on what goes, right? Like,
But
there's some other ways we can
let's
do it.
also look at this pattern, right? So last month, we saw our first RTU unit fail. And we said, oh, this is the beginning of the trend. We had that discussion right there. And here we are.
It's another one.
So I think
Yeah.
Rick's right. We should get the
We
hard
need
numbers there. But, initial reaction is we should look to replacing this single unit with a full new unit.
RTU 3 says 274, but that's just the parts.
Yeah, base
That's
cost for the auditorium.
Sorry, I found it, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, okay.
No, I
Plus
Okay,
another.
Jim's making a lot of
3%.
sense. I just want to I want to make sure that we're not jumping the gun without all the info. That's all.
That was a big one.
That is a big one.
Yeah, I bet you're into this
Because
for
the 5 was-
325 to 350.
I think RTU 5.
Assemble?
was something.
And that's before installation, right?
I bet
No,
that's with it.
All in.
This base
Well,
cost was 274 plus 3% because we're past that.
That's
discount
just
period.
equipment,
that's just equipment.
that's not labor.
I don't know if that's-
delivery.
That doesn't
Crane.
include labor, that
Crane,
doesn't include
anything.
crane, it doesn't include any
Yeah, no, I get
structural
it.
steel changes.
Three-
Well, then
It doesn't include
325,
electrical
yeah.
wiring,
So
it
that's,
doesn't,
it's different than 5.
And to your earlier point, though, how much is the crane?
Oh, God, honey, that's a heavy lift. I have no idea what that crane's
Very
going
good.
for an hour.
Yeah, with this heavy-
It's probably every bit of $5,000 an hour.
She
We
said
couldn't do it
that.
with volunteers.
A little hard.
Police.
The Egyptians did it, but we can't do it.
I am Egyptian.
Day,
That helps.
day prices, you're at 10 or 15 grand for a crane of that size.
So I guess what I'm saying is, if we're gonna have it here for remember we talked about, should we do a handful of these things?
Well, exactly. It doesn't mean we have to do all of them, but, do we select the 4 that are the most probable and do that, and then the next year, the next 4? And I get where you're going, but let's say we do 4 and then one of the ones we didn't do crashes on us. Now we're back at the same situation again,
And we can't know the future.
It's a gamble, it really is. It's a tough
So
decision.
let's get the numbers between
3 and 5.
replacing and repairing with the black market freon. With James Hunt.
Dan, what's the odds of losing heat on one of those units? Because
The
that,
heat is a
I
very,
appreciate the air
Yeah.
conditioning piece, but the heating piece is gonna become an education.
the heat is a very basic system. It's just heating coils that heat up with
Yeah.
electricity and then pushes air that way. The air condition is where you involve the R22 Freon, the coil systems, it's a sealed closed system,
Yeah.
so.
So in theory, though, for example, something did go wrong with the heat, that's an easier fix or an easier Band-Aid.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
Was that it?
As far as issues go?
Yeah.
Yeah, we also have a rooftop unit in the cafeteria here that ventilates the cafeteria that has gone bad on us and it needs to be replaced. think the bid came in at $14,000, but now I gotta get multiple bids for it once again, because it's above the $10,000.
It's not on that list?
It's not a.
It's not on
It's
that
just a
list.
smaller
It's a
unit.
little, whatever.
Well, it's a big unit, and it's gonna require a crane to bring that up there also. But it's you know, you don't need a huge crane, it's just a light-duty crane to get it up there. But it's gonna cost about $14,000 to do it. I need to get multiple bids on it, which is hard to do because E&E is our contractor. Here, we're going into the same situation once again with the $10,000 thing. Because I know E&E is gonna do it because they come in low, they have the contract for this building. If I start going to my other vendors and they don't get the bid, they're just gonna start saying, we're not bidding on this stuff anymore because you never use us. you know?
This isn't our
No,
HRU2?
this is a air circulation vent system. That it doesn't, it draws all the bad air out of the building. It's not heating or cooling.
Oh, okay.
So it's not even on there. It's a big exhaust fan. It's
Nothing
basically
goes in,
it.
everything goes out.
It's a huge exhaust fan on the roof of the cafeteria. So once again, I'm at the point there, I would like to ask that we go no bid on that one, simply because we're above the 10 grand limit, but it's, you know, if I go out to other vendors and they're not gonna get it, because I know E&E is the lowest bid out there. I'm burning bridges once again. And I'm sure James can understand my thought process on that one, because you keep going to him for bids and finally just like, I'm not gonna. come
Yeah,
here
that,
anymore.
that's true, and it's also true that that is the business that.
It is the business.
Right,
but-
so that it's not unique to you, it's not a surprise. We have 2 failed air conditioning units out of all the units that we know will fail, and this other third air exchange unit, right? I think we would be smart to look at replacing both of the failed units in the near term, right? Get those things ordered. And it would be ideal if you could bundle the cafeteria unit into the same.
Well, I'm already working on that
right?
with
Yeah.
Siemens, so I've already given the information on it, so.
So that would be a bonus.
Right.
Because it reduces your install
Right, the
labor
problem is
and mobile
even-
costs, but the timing may not work.
Even if we replace these units, it's next January, so that means I don't have any ventilation in that cafeteria until
Yeah,
next
so that,
January.
which is probably too long.
Where's the funding?
That's the second question, yeah, because now that's a $350,000 to $500,000 expense all in.
So. I'll work on this a bit more, obviously, and get hard costs for a lot of this stuff, but keep in mind, even though they give me a hard number, that's not gonna include things that come up
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
understand.
during this, you
well,
know,
it's-
When I say hard, I mean like something tangible we can
Yeah,
present, right?
Soft.
Yeah,
okay.
pliable.
When we say
Um,
hard, we mean.
Does that give you the clarity you're looking for on next steps, Dan?
clear as mud. Yes, it does. Yeah, I know where I'm going on this.
Yeah,
Um,
I apologize because I'm not as clear. Like, so the exhaust fan is a must fix now?
Well, if we want to move air through that cafeteria where kids are sitting
Yeah.
because of humidity and
Okay.
kids breathing in there and
I just want to
everything,
make sure
we
we're all
really,
clear,
we really should have that fixed.
Okay.
Now, we can open up windows and do that if we
No,
want to,
that's-
which
So
it's
science
not
class,
critical,
we
but
built
it's something
some
we
kind of
really
fan.
should do.
yeah, understood.
So,
Okay.
we have fans, we can ventilate the kitchen that way, or the cafeteria. So it's not for the kitchen, it's for the cafeteria, the kids sit and actually eat, so. All right. If we want to move on to facility use, I have a request here for pickleball.
What do you mean?
Well, to use Swayze Gym. How are we treating this? We're going back to this again. Am I charging them the same rate that I'm charging the basketball people? They want to use it during the summer.
And I apologize,
You
you
weren't
weren't here.
Yeah.
Did you change the rate
We adjusted the rate
to what?
to
$75
Day
A day?
a day.
a day.
for community.
Community best, for community, we sort of said for community organizations
The
that,
pickleball club was not on the community list that had committed to donate a single lump sum.
yeah, so
Are they a community organization?
Yes.
But they
So
were not
we-
on that
we looked-
list, though, right?
we looked at it as,
So hold on, I apologize. I just want to be super clear. You just said you approved $75 a day for community organizations.
well, for
Or
basketball.
was it $75 per day for community organizations on some list?
Yeah, we approved it for Sanborn Community Basketball, I believe. The spirit only.
All right.
And the spirit of that was that not only are they a community organization in a broad sense, but they're a feeder organization for our athletic programs. We have a vested interest in what they do for our whatever. And they came in, made a presentation. I believe Steve St. Cyr is going to come and speak during public comment tonight, a similar pitch in order to, the gist of it was, we really don't want to see Swayze close, but we understand the fact that the school as the lessor has or the lessee has a low usage and high cost situation. We're willing to pool together with other community organizations. Eventually pickleball may be on that list if they get to talk to them. At that time they weren't, to come up with a reasonable chunk of money that they can give to us on an annual basis as a good faith, starting point for us to be willing to renew that.
Have we received any money yet?
No, they said that on the assumption that we choose to renew it for the next 5 years, they would do this whole thing. So it's something that we should.
I'm just playing devil's advocate, right? I'm the pickleball committee. Why would I pay any more than what they're paying?
I mean,
The school district does not have a
vested interest.
pickleball
We don't have a pickleball program.
team.
It's adult.
So here's
So
the
we're
rub.
giving them a discount just because of the feeder?
I mean, it serves our kids in a lot of ways.
All right, so pickleball, we don't charge them anything as it is. And that's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah,
not
never.
fair to the basketball program that we're charging them, but we don't charge pickleball nothing.
Yeah, guys.
I want to
that's
go,
the-
And the city charges them $60 a person to play pickleball, which we don't get a penny
No, I
of
don't
it, and the
doubt-
town gets
I'm
nothing.
I'm
not
not saying
saying
that we
we
shouldn't
charge
charge
it, but this is what I didn't want to get into, right? Because I appreciate your argument, but I could sit here and argue it all day, right? Like, I don't care if it's a feeder program. I pay taxes.
and they also, the second piece is they also committed to have a minimum donation of 15 grand a year.
They could commit to do that too.
Correct?
Whether or not they give you the money or
And then-
not, that's it. Nobody's giving any money yet, right?
No, and this was a proposal. It wasn't but here's the thing. We didn't lower the rate on the assumption that they gave us 15,000 a year.
Okay.
Their 15,000 a year proposal was on the condition that we would renew the thing for 5 years, and they would help us to do that.
So you lowered the
We
rate.
lowered it
because
based on the fact that the rate that we had imposed the previous thing, they came and said was completely unsustainable for their program, and they were looking for help.
It's probably unsustainable for the pickleball program.
Well, I don't think I would, remember, I voted no to that daily rate originally. I don't think it's sustainable for anybody. So I wouldn't mind charging pickleball the same thing as community basketball right now.
Okay. I
And
would
if
agree
we
to that.
make that choice, it solves that problem, so it's a nice, clean.
Yeah, I would agree with
And
that.
and it creates.
I think it's a more palatable rate for people while we figure out the bigger situation than the heavy.
That's all I want to get.
So that's fine there, but I want to be eyes wide open then as that puts the remaining 50% for the annual operating costs of Swayze Gymnasium on the Sanborn School District budget.
100%.
So solves one problem, creates none.
Well,
Agree.
But it's
I mean, I don't know if
consistent.
that's a huge problem. In my book, that isn't a problem. And I have arguments to say why. I
It's
believe that.
50% better than it has ever been before.
Yeah. And it's the cost,
Yeah.
it's basically the cost of some filing cabinets.
But when you're sending teachers packing,
Well-
every dollar counts. That's all I'm
Sure.
saying.
But I mean, when we're spending that money on paper and filing cabinets,
That's just a different topic.
no, I know, but I'm saying,
I'm
this
just
is the
saying-
kind of, on a $40 million budget, this is the kind of money we're talking about. It's really not,
It's substantial, like 50K.
no, but if it's now roughly 25, say.
Still substantial. Quarter of a person.
So pickleball's gonna ask, are we only doing 75 for a full day? They're saying they only.
They want it
do
from 9 to
4
9.
hours. They want it,
No,
Day rate.
it's a day rate, yeah.
okay.
Day
So
rate.
I
Based
just wanna
on-
make sure we're
That's
all.
what we did for
on the same
basketball.
page.
Thank you. So, and it's really 6, so we should be quick. I would suggest that we adjust our daily rate for all organizations to be down at $75 a day. And then we got to figure out in our budgeting process what to do.
Or do they use it a half a day or a whole day?
Yeah,
So you're making a
it's a
monthly?
day rate. Yes, but I'm saying it in practice words before I make them.
Oh, okay.
Because I just want to be clear, I don't want to go into the 2027 budget cycle and have the district carry any operating costs for that building.
I don't either. I think you and I are aligned on that.
I want to say clearly that I don't think it is especially when we use it, we're using it as we speak for JV summer basketball, school related, and we use it for at the very least the eighth of the time. I don't think it makes sense for us to carry none of the cost.
Okay.
A.
That makes
B,
sense.
I think we should be asking what the value of the cost is to our kids and think about what the possible shortfalls of paying it also are, to your point, right? But I don't know that,
And devil's advocate, like, just as a taxpayer, I would say there's probably plenty of room in the school for those activities to be done. JV basketball, there's 2 gyms here. Like, I'm sure you can figure out a schedule where that would happen. So shut the
Sure.
building down.
I mean, but if as a taxpayer, if we want people to start looking and saying, this is what I think is best for your kids from the outside, and it will save me money, I think that's a dangerous precedent too. They just close the whole thing down. I mean, a pickleball player might say, I'm not getting anything out of this school at all. Why should I pay for any of it? Which is many people do say.
Mhm.
So I think that that's not really, I obviously I share the concern for their financial perspectives, but
It's all good.
being a good steward of their funds also means investing them in things that make kids do well in our community.
All good points. I think that's further discussion we need to
And with
get
the whole
out.
board too.
We're gonna make
more
it.
harder decisions. Motion on the table is we adjust the rate for usage of the Swayze gym, day rate only, regardless of desired time, to $75 a day.
Okay, this is my problem. We have this in a chart already. This is posted online. They are an in-district nonprofit organization. It's $150 per event. We need to create another column that says in-district nonprofit community program, and then add that rate there.
That's fine. So,
Okay, so who's gonna readjust and figure out all these new rates for all these different organizations? That's what, we're throwing numbers out there, guys, with all these different organizations, and there's no clarity on each one of them, and it's not fair to all these organizations. We have to come with a solid number and
Here's a
say,
question.
this is our rate.
What do we mean by in-district and out-of-district?
In-district meaning from the town of Newton or Kingston. Okay, out-of-district is out of those 2 communities.
Okay. So what do we mean by,
So they're in-district nonprofit, which is the first column. It's $150 per event.
you got hours here.
Now, event, is that
Okay,
a
for
4
Swayze,
hour?
but I guess what I'm saying is, for Swayze, these rates, to me, clearly indicate 150 per event. Event means discrete usage. Like, I want to have a craft fair in that place. It's happening once. This is the rate, right? We're talking about regular usage, though. It's not an event, right? These are frequent flyers. So I would.
I understand where you're coming from, but it still costs me
money.
money to pay custodian
course.
overtime there to clean these places.
Well, yeah, I mean,
We clearly need another column.
you're gonna have a column. Yeah, I mean, but, yeah, I mean, call it, I don't know what you call it. What do you call
can we just, because it's now 5:57.
I know that.
So,
One
I mean,
more thing.
before we get to this chart, I think we need to answer the question that you brought to us, which is the pickleball, right?
it? Second.
You made a motion. I don't think, let's take your motion. I don't think we need a motion. Thank you. I think we're gonna approve the use of the Swayze gym for pickleball at $75 per day. And then we'll take your chart and
We're
we'll
gonna do all this.
redo that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you guys good with that?
Yeah, and so.
Do you
I
want to
think-
time limit that,
What do you
just in case you come back with a different decision because you left that
The chart? you mean?
open-ended? Well, you want to come back to the chart. You've talked about approving for the pickleball at $75.
Well,
Right now, there's no time limiter on it, which they could potentially
Their
say.
application is
"I've
just for
been-"
the summer, so that's the rate I'll charge for the
Okay,
summer.
okay,
They
I just want to make sure there was
Yeah.
a time
Yeah,
limit
that's a good
on it,
point.
so you weren't sort of
Yeah.
putting
No,
them
you're
in
good,
a
yeah.
thing forever.
So
Okay.
we're gonna be, I think Steve last time said he was gonna come to our next public meeting
Can I
and
have
make
that?
public
Sure.
comment. So we'll hear
Probably
about
have it already.
that tonight. And I think that he'll request
Guide that.
to put Swayze, whether or not we're gonna renew it, on the next agenda. I think he's gonna ask that we do that. So we can do that if we see that it's an appropriate.
Maria, you have this?
Yeah, it's on our website.
Oh, okay, I'll just download it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah.
No.
So I want to touch base on something real quick for a different subject, if that's okay. We're done with this one here, I'm assuming?
You have a minute.
Okay. The snack shack we have, we're at the high school. We have the boosters in there that's selling food. Once again, this is coming up again, and it's coming up across all different school districts. They don't have a permit to sell food, which they need. They don't have food handling licenses or anything like that. We are taking on a huge liability if someone gets food poisoning in that venue. All right, and we have no certificates or anything authorizing them selling hot dogs and burgers.
Have we made them aware of it?
I've made them aware of it numerous times over the last couple of years, and no one is doing nothing about this. And now we're going into the football season.
We
once
don't have
again.
anybody with a serve safe in there?
Nope, not with the boosters.
Make that a requirement.
Yeah.
Yeah, just have them.
Well, then we
get
need
it
to write a
online.
policy stating that if anybody's gonna be using that, then they need to have their certifications and all that other stuff.
Do we have an existing policy for that?
We have no policy regarding that whatsoever. So my concern is that, I mean, they can serve
It should all-
sealed foods like Hostess and chips and sodas and stuff, but they're serving up hot dogs and burgers and stuff, and as soon as you start doing that,
There's,
the state will turn an eye because it's a school function and you really don't need a vendor license, but you have to have food handling certifications.
That's an
easy.
easily
Yeah.
achievable thing.
Well, I'm sure it is, and I know it is because we train our kids here in school to have that certification.
So who writes that policy and where does it live? This seems very simple.
policy.
Policy committee. Who's in charge of the football boosters? Do we know that?
I have no clue. It changes so often. I don't know. I can't keep up with it.
And I wouldn't limit it to the football. Just limit it
No,
to-
it should be
I'm just
anybody.
trying
Part of
to,
it,
because
because
that's.
Give them a
concession-
heads up.
There's a concession stand that operates at Swayze now.
Reach
too.
out. Okay.
Right.
This is gonna
So,
happen.
yeah.
You
still
still
wanna-
use this.
Well, and
This applies to
other
Swayze
school
as well.
districts, I have a whole chat here from other school districts. Who's paying for the equipment? Who's paying for the heat? Who's paying for the maintenance? Who pays for that whole snack shack? You know, if the boosters are using it and making a profit, but I'm paying for the bills for all the equipment, once again, that doesn't seem quite.
Fair enough, but the issue at hand is the serve safe.
Yeah,
certification.
yeah, I mean, that's the
let's
big
get rid of
thing.
the liability first and then.
Right.
Okay, before we adjourn, I think you guys need to vote, like, the second year, $75 for the pickleball.
Yeah, I didn't
Oh,
think
I
that
don't
was
even think
final.
I
we
don't
made a
think we-
motion. I think we're just,
Yeah, do we need
Can
to
we
make a
do
motion
that?
for that?
I don't know, but you just
I-
said for him that it was okay for 75.
I think you probably want to make a motion on that since we're
Yeah,
deviating from our.
I'll make a motion to approve the pickleball to use the Swayze gym for the summer at $75 day rate.
the second.
Okay, all in favor? Unanimous?
And my guess is they're gonna turn it down, which is fine. They can go play on their own pad over in town.
And then will you carry that message about the serve safe certification for?
I'm gonna try to find out who, I'll start with the football. booster.
I know
And
that.
who's gonna write the policy? So that's the informed piece.
The policy, yeah, I could take a stab at it and forward it to the.
I'll tell you what, I'm
policy
gonna write you a bunch of questions and I'll email to you next week as far as some of the things we need to look at in there
Alright.
and how we're gonna handle this in the future with food services there.
committee. Yeah, so why don't you give me your questions?
Yeah.
Then I'll draft a policy.
Yeah.
Take a stab at it and give it to the policy.
And I'll let you know how other
Just
schools are handling it also.
To, not to interlude,
Yeah.
but I would say, I'll take this.
Oh, okay.
Let me do it.
Even better.
Yeah.
And I would-
Okay, and I'll get with you next week
I would
because
have-
there's some.
So
other-
you wanna contact the boosters too,
Yeah,
or
well, do that.
you want me to
I-
find out who?
I have no idea who they are, but I
I'm
will
sure-
find out.
Ryan has that information.
Yeah, Ryan.
Okay.
We can find out.
I would say that
You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
I would love for the requirement for ServSafe to be embedded into rental contracts that have to do with Swayze. Whenever we have.
I would like to,
whenever somebody
any of
signs-
our properties.
Just because, well, Swayze has the concession stand sort of built in and available to the entity. It's not like it's out here. in a
It's
separate building.
603.
You know what I mean? Okay.